What is up, TikTok and YouTube? So I'm going to put this video up and then I'm fixing to switch over to doing some videos that I wanted to do concerning like an onion poultice and a few other things. I put things up on the internet because I want to make people aware of the situation. I don't tell everything. I don't tell half of the shit that goes on behind the scenes. I have court next week. I know my ex and his mama have been playing games with me and my children for years. So right now I'm just going to take a minute to say we have court next week. Please pray for us. That's it, about that situation. After court and the decisions are made on what's going on with my son permanently, I'm going to open up about a lot of shit. When you are someone who has been denied your belongings and had to start over from scratch, had your ex sell everything that was potentially monetarily beneficial to you, such as your furniture. The only reason why I have a bed to sleep in to this day is because my father died at the same time that I lost custody of my son temporarily. When you have had to dig yourself out of the pits of hell and start all over, when you've had to accept your own responsibility, your own sins, your own, I should have done this different, I shouldn't have done that. Change your life completely around, knowing that your child was not in a good situation. Look at someone who you thought loved you and you could trust, or at least to be responsible with your child. Allow their mother to dictate the entire narrative of not just one, but 2 divorces. Knowing her mental state and that she could potentially harm your child because she hates your guts so much, and live with him knowing he's being kept from you as much as possible, and he's coming with signs of sickness, abuse, and then to catch them in that, like you knew it, when you have had to literally go through a mental, a spiritual, and a financial, physical hell and dig yourself out of that. Whether it was prayer, whether it was forming new relationships, just starting life all over again, from having a farm, from having all my children, from having a very profitable business. I cannot even explain to you what I have been through in the past 2.5 years. But I kept saying at times, like, I thought it was going to draw to a close, and I wanted to write a book, and shit just keeps happening. So I haven't been able to close that chapter and move on. What I will say is we have court in 2 weeks. And all I'm going to ask for is that I have prayers for the best interest of my son to be put back with me permanently, and that we can move on. I have plans, I have goals, I have dreams, I have things that I want to accomplish, and I have a lot of things, and most importantly, I want to share my spiritual journey. I want to share, and just as crazy as things are in the physical, in this whole situation, are things in the spiritual. But I don't want to open up too much because we have court. But I know after this last little get up, it's not a mistake that my ex-mother-in-law just we know 3 year-long prescriptions of thyroid medicine within 3 months. How do you accidentally fucking get too much thyroid medicine? But can't go feel an antibiotic and a pain medicine prescription and lets the baby suffer. So I don't know what the game plan was with that, or if it's just Munchausen, or if it's just because she hates my guts. I don't know. I want a backstory, a lot of this, because when you pull yourself out of the pits of hell mentally, physically, emotionally, and you have to start your life all over again, you have a lot of time to think on the past, all the signs that were there that she was projecting her mental illness and her problems onto my ex and really all of her children and her grandchildren. Some of the weird shit. I said I was going to do a story time number 5. I'm not. I don't want that woman to take up any space in my head or on my channel. I wish the best for those people, and I just want to close this chapter. But I do hope that they are prosecuted for the things that I have reported during the time that they have had he has had temporary custody of my son. I do hope they are prosecuted. Because just as I have these supposed assault charges, really all I did was go take pictures to prove he was lying in court. About selling his truck. He couldn't afford. At that time I had the baby. At that time he said he couldn't afford to pay child support. He had to sell his truck. I go by there. There's a girlfriend, part-time live-in, a new his truck, a new vehicle, and I texted a bunch of bullshit. That's all I did. I left. The girlfriend comes out screaming and hollering and cussing, and I just left. That's all that happened. But there was a whole bunch of... But this is the second time they charged me with a bunch of bullshit. Or the third. Third. Yeah. I've never assaulted anybody. And the first time it was, felonies for supposed, some kind of cyber stalking or harassment by email, but they didn't have a look at evidence because I didn't even know their fucking email address. Some of this stuff that's going on in these small towns needs to be exposed because it's friends who are just taking these people's words and going, yeah, fill the affidavit out, sign it, and we'll go ahead and put a warrant out or charge this person with something, but they ain't got a fucking lick of proof because it didn't happen. And these little small town corruption things that are going on, you know, I consider this more of spiritual warfare than I do, you know, I think the whole thing is just what they've been allowed to get away with just because, like, people trust them or they have a name. Like, my friends are like, you're going to end up on victim suspect. Like, I could literally go into so much that has gone on behind the scenes, but I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to wrap this up by saying, I would ask just for prayers that the truth comes out in court next week and that my son is returned to his mother, who has been kept from him as much as possible, and used as a pawn in their little manipulative... Because, I mean, the only way I know how to describe is fucking Norman Bates or Ted Bundy shit. The dude and his mom, and they're fucking sick. And they've done this to several women and children. And the fucking family can see it at this point. There is no fucking denying it. The community can see it. Not all these women that he ends up with who end up leaving, having their kids taken, they end up addicted or they end up in some kind of crazy situation. This is not fucking normal behavior. If it happened once, yeah, but it's happened over and over and over again. And my kid can't be left in that environment. I just can't. So I'm just going to ask for prayers, move on from that subject, and try to get back to my normal videos for herbalism. And then once this wraps up, I'm going to lay a lot of shit out there because I do want to share.